For more than 2 years, a little girl suffered in silence. Her name was Lily Harrington. She was 6 years old, the daughter of a billionaire, and she was dying. Not from cancer, not from a rare genetic disorder, not from any disease that doctors could name or understand. Lily was being poisoned, slowly, methodically, by someone who claimed to love her family more than life itself. And the evidence of this crime was hidden in the one place no one thought to look. Inside the very thing that was supposed to keep her safe, inside her blanket. This is the story of how one woman discovered the truth and how she risked everything to save a child she barely knew. But before we meet her, you need to understand what she was walking into. You need to see the house where evil lived. You need to meet the monster who wore the face of a caregiver. The Harrington estate sat on 3 acres in Greenwich, Connecticut, where old money whispered through manicured lawns and wrought iron gates promised security that money could not actually buy. The mansion was built in 1920, renovated twice, and filled with the kind of silence that comes not from peace, but from the absence of joy. It was a Tuesday morning in early September when Anna Bennett first drove through those gates. The air still held summer warmth, but autumn was creeping in at the edges. Leaves were just beginning to turn. The sky was that particular shade of blue that made photographers reach for cameras and poets reach for metaphors. Anna was neither a photographer nor a poet. She was a caregiver. 28 years old, blonde hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, blue eyes that had seen too much sadness in hospital rooms but still held kindness. She wore simple clothes, dark pants, a white blouse, comfortable shoes. The uniform of someone who understood that comfort mattered more than style when you spent 12 hours on your feet. Her resume told a straightforward story. 5 years as a pediatric nurse at Yale New Haven Hospital. Recently completed a degree in child psychology. References that praised her competence and compassion. What the resume did not mention was why she left the hospital. Why she needed a job that would let her sleep at night. The truth was simple and terrible. 6 months ago, Anna had suspected a child was being abused. She had seen the signs. The flinching, the fear, the bruises that appeared in patterns too regular to be accidental. But she had not spoken up quickly enough, had not pushed hard enough, had filled out the reports and assumed someone else would follow through. 3 weeks later, that child was in the ICU with a fractured skull. The boy survived. Anna did not forgive herself. She left the hospital and took this job because she needed to believe she could still protect children, that she could still make a difference, that she was not too broken to save someone. She did not know, as she parked her modest Honda in the circular driveway, that she was about to get that chance. The front door opened before Anna could knock. A woman stood in the doorway, 52 years old, gray hair pulled into a severe bun, sharp features that might have been handsome once but had been hardened by decades of something that looked like devotion but tasted like obsession. She wore a black dress, sensible shoes, no jewelry except a simple watch. Margaret Whitmore, the housekeeper, though that title did not begin to describe what she really was. "You are the sixth," Margaret said. No greeting, no smile, just a statement of fact delivered in a voice that could have frozen water. Anna extended her hand. "Anna Bennett, I am pleased to meet you." Margaret looked at the offered hand for 3 seconds before shaking it. Her grip was cold, firm, brief. "The others did not last," Margaret continued. She stepped aside to let Anna enter. "Olivia left after 2 months. Jessica barely made it 3. Rebecca was here 6 weeks before she decided the job was not for her. Sophia stayed 2.5 months. Grace managed 3. The foyer was enormous. Marble floors, a chandelier that probably cost more than Anna made in a year, a staircase that curved up towards shadows, family portraits on the walls, a mother, a father, a little girl with blonde hair and a smile that looked like it was made of sunshine. "I hope you will be different," Margaret said, but the way she said it made it clear she did not hope that at all. "Follow me, Rain. There are room." They walked through the house. Margaret's shoes clicked on the marble with metronomic precision. Anna's softer steps whispered behind. Through the formal living room where no one seemed to have lived for years. Through the dining room with a table that could seat 20, but was set for 1. Through the kitchen that was spotless in a way that suggested it was cleaned not because it was used, but because cleanliness was a weapon against disorder. "You will care for Lily," Margaret said as they climbed the stairs. "You will help with her meals, her bathing, her medications, her therapy exercise. You will keep her comfortable." "Of course," Anna said. "What are her specific needs?" Margaret stopped on the landing, turned. Her eyes were the color of winter. "Lily has been ill for 24 months," she said, "since shortly after her mother died. The doctors cannot determine the cause. She is weak, tired. She has headaches, tremors, nausea. She refuses to eat most days. Nothing helps." "Have they ruled out—" "They have ruled out everything," Margaret interrupted. "Cancer, autoimmune disorders, genetic conditions, infections, psychological trauma. The best doctors in Connecticut have examined her. The best doctors in Boston. Even specialists from New York. No one has answers." Anna filed that information away. 24 months of illness, multiple doctors, no diagnosis. That was unusual. In her experience, pediatric medicine was very good at finding answers. When answers could not be found, it usually meant someone was not asking the right questions. "What medications is she taking?" Anna asked. "I will provide you with a list," Margaret said. "But you must understand something. I have cared for this family for 30 years. I was here before Richard married. I was here when Lily was born. I was here when Catherine died. I know what is best for this household." There was something in the way she said Richard. Not Mr. Harrington, not the master of the house, just Richard. Like they were equals, like she had a claim on him that went beyond employment. "I understand," Anna said, though she did not. "Not yet." Margaret led her to a door at the end of the hall. She knocked softly, waited, knocked again. "Lily," she called, "your new caregiver is here." No response. Margaret opened the door. The room was large. Windows faced east, letting in morning light that seemed to die before it reached the floor. The walls were painted pale yellow, but the color looked sickly in the shadows. There was a bookshelf filled with books that looked unread, a desk with crayons and paper untouched, a rocking horse that no one had ridden in months, and in the bed, under a lavender blanket, was the smallest, saddest child Anna had ever seen. Lily Harrington was 6 years old but looked 4. Her blonde hair was dull and thin, spread across the pillow like straw. Her skin had the translucent quality of someone who never saw sunlight. Her arms were stick-thin where they emerged from her pajamas. But it was her eyes that stopped Anna cold. Those eyes were old, ancient. They had seen too much and understood too much and had given up on hoping for anything better. "Hello, Lily," Anna said softly. She did not approach the bed, did not invade the child's space, just stood in the doorway and smiled. "My name is Anna. I am here to help take care of you." Lily said nothing. She clutched the lavender blanket tighter around her small body. "She does not talk much anymore," Margaret said from behind Anna. "Not since the illness began." "That is all right," Anna said, still speaking to Lily. "We do not have to talk if you do not want to. I will be here if you need anything. Is that okay?" The smallest nod, almost invisible, but it was there. Margaret brought in a cup of hot chocolate. Steam rose from it in lazy spirals. She set it on the nightstand beside Lily's bed. "Drink this, darling," Margaret said. Her voice changed when she spoke to Lily, became softer, almost loving. "It will help you feel better." Lily looked at the cup, then she looked away. Her small hand pushed the blanket over her face like she was trying to disappear. "She refuses most food," Marguerite said, her voice returning to its normal frost. "We do our best, but she is stubborn." Anna watched this interaction carefully, saw how Lily recoiled from the hot chocolate, how her breathing quickened when Margaret approached, how she seemed to relax slightly when Margaret stood up and back up. Fear, Anna thought. That was not refusal. That was fear. An hour later, Anna met Richard Harrington. He came home just before lunch. 38 years old but looking 50. Dark hair going gray at the temples. Expensive suit that hung on him like he had recently lost weight. Eyes that were the same shade of blue as his daughter's, but without the same resignation. His eyes still fought, still hoped, still refused to accept what was happening. "Miss Bennett," he said, shaking her hand in the foyer. His grip was firm, but his palm was damp, nervous. "Thank you for coming. I hope Margaret has explained the situation. She has, Anna said. I am sorry about Lily. I cannot imagine how difficult this must be. Something in Richard's face cracked. Just for a moment, a flash of the grief he kept locked away during business hours. She was fine, he said. Until 18 months ago, she was a normal, healthy, happy child. Then Catherine, my wife, died in a car accident. Lily was in the car. She survived without a scratch. But Catherine, he stopped, swallowed, continued. The doctors say the trauma might have triggered something. Psychosomatic illness, post-traumatic stress disorder, but the symptoms do not match. The timeline does not fit, and nothing we try makes her better. What have the doctors tried? Anna asked. Everything, Richard said. He pulled out his phone, showed her a list that went on for pages. Medications, therapies, specialists. 12 different doctors, 5 hospitals, tens of thousands of dollars in tests. No one can tell me what is wrong with my daughter. Anna looked at the list. Then she looked at Richard, saw the desperation there, the guilt, the bone-deep exhaustion of a man who had too much money to solve every problem and was discovering that some problems could not be bought away. I will do everything I can to help her, Anna said. Thank you, Richard said. He glanced at his watch. I need to return to the office, board meeting at 2. But if you need anything, anything at all, Margaret knows how to reach me. Of course Margaret does, Anna thought. She watched him leave, watched him pause at the bottom of the stairs, saw him look up toward where his daughter's room was, saw him take 3 steps up, stop, turn around, walk out the door instead. A man who loved his child but could not bear to see her suffer, who worked 70-hour weeks because being at the office was easier than being home, who was slowly drowning and did not know how to ask for help. Anna knew that type of grief, had seen it before. It was the kind that came not from losing someone all at once, but from losing them slowly, day by day until you looked up one morning and realized they were already gone. The first day passed in careful observation. Anna did not push, did not intrude. She simply existed in Lily's orbit and watched. She watched how Lily would be more alert in the mornings, how by mid-afternoon her energy would fade, how by evening she could barely keep her eyes open. She watched how Lily refused meals that Margaret prepared, how the child would take small bites only if Anna offered the food instead, how Lily's hands trembled when she tried to hold a crayon. And she watched Margaret, watched how the housekeeper controlled every aspect of the household, how she prepared all of Lily's meals herself, how she insisted on administering all medications, how she appeared silently in doorways like a ghost, always watching, always evaluating, always present. By the end of that first day, Anna had filled 3 pages in a small notebook she kept in her pocket. Observations, questions, patterns that did not quite make sense but niggled at the edges of her awareness like splinters under skin. That night, alone in the small bedroom she had been given on the 2nd floor, Anna found something in the drawer of her nightstand. A piece of paper. Folded once, the handwriting was shaky. Rushed. Desperate. Get out while you can. They all tried to help. Anna sat on the edge of the bed and stared at those words for a long time. Her first instinct was to pack her bags, leave, find another job. This was not her fight. She did not owe these people anything. But then she thought of Lily, of those old eyes in that young face, of the fear when Margaret brought food, of the way the child seemed to be fading a little more each day. Anna folded the note, put it in her pocket, and made a decision. She would not run. Not this time. The second day began the same as the first. Morning light through expensive windows, the smell of coffee drifting up from the kitchen, the silence of a house too large for the 3 people living in it. Anna went to Lily's room at 7 o'clock, found the child awake, staring at the ceiling, still clutching that lavender blanket. Good morning, Anna said from the doorway. Lily turned her head. The movement seemed to take effort. How did you sleep? Anna asked. A small shrug. Would you like some breakfast? Lily's face went tight, a small shake of her head. No. Are you not hungry? Or do you not want what Mrs. Whitmore usually makes? Something flickered in Lily's eyes. Understanding, relief, like someone had finally asked the right question. Not hungry, Lily whispered. It was the first time Anna had heard her speak. Her voice was barely there, a ghost of a sound. Okay, Anna said. But later, if you get hungry, you can tell me what sounds good. We will figure something out together. Deal? The smallest smile. It lasted maybe 2 seconds, but it was there. Progress, Anna thought. Margaret appeared at 8 o'clock with oatmeal, plain, flavorless, the kind of meal someone made when they were going through motions without thought. She needs to eat, Margaret said, setting the bowl on the nightstand. She will eat when she is ready, Anna replied. Margaret's eyes went cold. Miss Bennet, I have been caring for this child since she was born. I think I know better than you what she needs. I am sure you do, Anna said carefully, but forcing food on a nauseous child often makes things worse. Let us give her time. For 3 seconds, the air in that room crackled with tension. Margaret staring at Anna meeting her gaze without flinching, Lily watching both of them with those old, knowing eyes. Then Margaret smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. Of course, she said, you are the professional. I defer to your expertise. But her tone said she did not defer to anything. Margaret left. The oatmeal remained, growing cold and forming a skin on top that looked like something that should never be eaten. You do not have to eat that, Anna told Lily. I know, Lily whispered. She makes me anyway. Not anymore, Anna said, and she meant it. Over the next 5 days, Anna established a pattern. She tracked everything in her notebook. Every meal, every symptom, every interaction. And what she found made her blood run cold. Lily's illness followed a schedule. Morning, relatively alert. Post-breakfast, lethargy begins. Afternoon, headaches intensify. After dinner, tremors and confusion. Night, deep, unnatural sleep. The pattern held across days, across meals, across every variable except one, the meals Margaret prepared. On day 3, Anna conducted an experiment. She told Margaret that Lily requested plain toast for breakfast, nothing else. Margaret frowned but allowed it. Anna made the toast herself in the kitchen, brought it upstairs, watched Lily eat 3 pieces. By mid-morning, Lily was more alert than Anna had seen her all week. She colored a picture, asked questions about Anna's life, laughed at a joke. By lunch, Margaret insisted on making soup. Lily ate 4 spoonfuls. Within an hour, she was back in bed, exhausted, trembling, pale. Anna wrote it all down, drew circles around the correlation, and began to form a hypothesis that made her sick to consider. Someone was poisoning this child, and that someone had access to her food, her medication, her blanket, everything in her life. Anna needed proof, but proof required investigation. An investigation required information that 5 previous caregivers had apparently tried and failed to obtain. She started by trying to find them. The previous caregivers. The ones who left without explanation. The ones who knew something but were too afraid to say. In Richard's study, late one night while he was still at the office and Margaret was asleep, Anna found employment records, contact information, phone numbers, addresses, 5 women, 5 stories that probably held answers. She started with the most recent. Grace Williams, 35 years old, last known address in Newark, New Jersey. Anna found her on Facebook. Sent a message. Waited. Grace responded within an hour. Meet me at the Starbucks on Main Street in Stamford tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Come alone. Do not tell anyone. The coffee shop was busy, loud, full of people who would not notice 2 women having a quiet conversation in the corner. Anna arrived at 1:45, ordered tea, found a table near the back where she could see the door. Grace Williams walked in at exactly 2 o'clock. African-American, short hair, dressed like someone who was perpetually ready to run. She scanned the room, found Anna, approached with the careful steps of someone who had learned not to trust easily. You are Anna, Grace said. Not a question, a confirmation. Thank you for meeting me, Anna said. Grace sat down, did not order anything, kept her purse in her lap and her phone face up on the table like she might need to call for help at any moment. You need to quit, Grace said without preamble. Leave that house, do not look back. What happened to you there? Grace laughed. It was a bitter sound. What did not happen? I thought I was going crazy, seeing things that were not there. But I was not crazy. That woman is evil. Margaret? Mrs. Whitmore, Grace said, and the way she said the name dripped with disgust. She controls everything, every meal, every medication, every minute of that child's life. And when I started noticing that Lily only got sick after eating food Margaret prepared, I asked questions. Big mistake. What did you find? I found vitamin bottles with no labels, Grace said. I found Margaret giving Lily pills that were not on any prescription list. When I confronted her, she said they were supplements from a private doctor, said Mr. Harrington approved them. But something felt wrong. Anna leaned forward. Did you tell Richard, Mr. Harrington? I tried, Grace said, but Margaret got to him first. Told him I was making accusations because I was stressed. Said I was seeing conspiracies where there were none. She made me look unstable, paranoid, and then the texts started. Texts? Grace pulled out her phone, showed Anna screenshots, messages from unknown numbers, threats, warnings, personal information that no stranger should have known. Her address, her mother's name, where her sister worked. Stop asking questions. Stop making trouble, or we will make trouble for you. I got scared, Grace admitted. I have a family, people I need to protect. So I quit, took another down, tried to forget about that little girl and what was being done to her. But I cannot forget. At night I dream about her. I wake up feeling guilty because I know she is still there, still suffering, and I did nothing to help her. You are helping her now, Anna said, by talking to me. Will that be enough, Grace asked, or will you run too when Margaret comes after you? Anna looked at this woman, saw the shame and the fear and the regret, saw herself in 6 months if she gave up now, if she ran again, if she let another child slip through her fingers. I will not run, Anna said. Grace studied her for a long moment. Then she reached into her purse, pulled out a folded piece of paper, slid it across the table. Jessica Park, Grace said. She was there before me. She saw more than I did. She left in the middle of the night without even packing her things. If you want the full story, talk to her. But be careful, something happened to Rebecca Torres. Who? The third caregiver, Grace said. She disappeared right after she quit. Police found her body 6 months later in a motel in the Bronx. They said she overdosed. Suicide. But I knew Rebecca. She was not the type. Anna felt ice form in her stomach. You think Margaret killed her? I think people who ask too many questions about Lily Harrington end up having very bad luck, Grace said. She stood up. Be smart, Anna. Get that girl out of there. Or get yourself out. But do not underestimate what you are dealing with. Margaret Whitmore has been in that house for 30 years. She knows how to hide things. And she knows how to make problems disappear. Grace left without another word. Anna sat there for 20 minutes, staring at the paper with Jessica Park's phone number, thinking about Rebecca Torres in a motel room, thinking about 5 caregivers who all left the same job under mysterious circumstances, thinking about a 6-year-old girl who was dying slowly in a house full of secrets. Anna pulled out her phone, started to dial Jessica's number, then stopped. If Margaret had killed once, she could kill again. If Anna was not careful, she would be next. She needed to be smart, strategic, gather evidence before making accusations, build a case that could not be denied or explained away. But first, she needed to know exactly what was happening to Lily. She needed medical proof, scientific evidence, something that would force Richard to listen, to act, to save his own daughter. She called Greenwich Hospital, asked for Dr. Nina Reyes, the pediatrician who had treated Lily before, the one whose name appeared most frequently in the medical records. Dr. Reyes, the voice answered. This is Anna Bennett, Anna said. I am the new caregiver for Lily Harrington. I need to speak with you about her case, in private, as soon as possible. There was a pause, then, how soon can you get here? On day 8, everything went wrong. Anna woke at 6 o'clock to the sound of screaming. Not words, just raw animal panic coming from down the hall. She ran barefoot across cold hardwood, burst into Lily's room. The child was convulsing, her small body rigid, eyes rolled back, foam at the corners of her mouth. The lavender blanket twisted around her like it was trying to strangle her. Lily! Anna dropped to her knees beside the bed, turned the child on her side, made sure her airway was clear, started timing the seizure with the second hand on her watch. Margaret appeared in the doorway. What happened? Call 911, Anna ordered. Now. But now! Margaret vanished. Anna heard her voice downstairs on the phone. Calm, collected, like this was routine. The seizure lasted 43 seconds. When it ended, Lily went limp, breathing, alive, but unconscious in a way that was deeper than sleep. The ambulance arrived 8 minutes later. Paramedics rushed into the room with practiced efficiency. Asked questions, Anna answered automatically. How long? How severe? Medical history, current medications. They lifted Lily onto a stretcher with a gentleness that made Anna's throat tight. Richard arrived just as they were loading Lily into the ambulance. He must have broken every speed limit between his office and home. His suit jacket was missing. His tie hung loose. He looked like a man watching his world end. I am going with her, he said. Not a request, a fact. I will follow, Anna said. Meet you there. She rode to Greenwich Hospital in her Honda, following the ambulance, watching its lights strobe red and white against the morning sky, thinking about patterns, about symptoms that got worse after meals, about 5 caregivers who left and 1 who died, thinking about a lavender blanket that Lily never let go of, even in sleep, even in seizures. At the hospital, they took Lily straight to emergency. Richard paced in the waiting room. Margaret sat perfectly still in a chair by the window, and Anna made a phone call. Dr. Reyes? The voice answered. She is here, Anna said. Lily Harrington. She just had a grand mal seizure. I am at Greenwich Hospital. I need you to order a toxicology screen. On what grounds? I think she is being poisoned, Anna said. I think someone has been dosing her with sedatives for months, maybe longer. I need you to test for benzodiazepines, barbiturates, anything that would cause her symptoms. Silence on the other end. Then, I will be there in 10 minutes. Dr. Nina Reyes was 42 years old. She had kind eyes and tired hands, and a reputation for being the doctor who listened when others looked past. She met Anna in the hallway outside the emergency department, pulled her into an empty consultation room, closed the door. Tell me everything, Dr. Reyes said. Anna did. The pattern of symptoms, the correlation with meals, Margaret's control, the previous caregivers, Grace's story, Rebecca's death, the note, the threats. All of it came pouring out in a rush of words that sounded insane even to Anna's own ears. But Dr. Reyes did not look skeptical. She looked grim, like she was hearing something she had suspected but not wanted to believe. I have seen Lily 4 times in the past 18 months, Dr. Reyes said. Every time, the symptoms were slightly different. Fatigue, tremors, confusion, memory problems, respiratory depression, classic signs of central nervous system depression. But her blood work always came back normal. Standard panels do not test for most sedatives unless you specifically order those tests. Can you order them now? Anna asked. I already did, Dr. Reyes said. The moment you called, we drew blood when Lily came in. Rush order on toxicology. We will have preliminary results in 3 hours. 3 hours felt like 3 years. Anna sat in the waiting room, watched Richard pace, watched Margaret read a magazine like this was a routine doctor's visit and not a life-threatening emergency. Watched the clock tick away, seconds that felt like they were being pulled through molasses. At 1 o'clock, Dr. Reyes returned. Her face told Anna everything before she said a word. Mr. Harrington, Dr. Reyes said. Miss Bennett, I need to speak with you, in private. They went to the same consultation room. Dr. Reyes closed the door, pulled up results on a tablet, turned the screen so they could see numbers that probably meant nothing to Richard, but everything to Anna. The toxicology screen came back positive for temazepam, Dr. Reyes said. It is a benzodiazepine, a powerful sedative, used for severe insomnia, not typically prescribed for children, and certainly not at the levels we found in Lily's system. Richard stared at the screen. I do not understand. What does that mean? It means, Anna said quietly, that someone has been giving Lily sedatives, regularly, for an extended period of time. It explains all her symptoms, the fatigue, the tremors, the confusion. The seizure she had this morning was likely caused by withdrawal. Her body has become dependent on the drug. But who would... Richard stopped. His face went pale. No, no, that is impossible. Mr. Harrington, Dr. Reyes said gently, who has access to Lily's food, her medication, who prepares her meals? Margaret, Richard whispered, but she would never. She has been with our family for 30 years. She loves Lily. He could not finish the sentence. Could not say out loud what they all knew had to be true. We need to call the police, Anna said. No, Richard said. He stood up, paced to the window, stared out at the parking lot like it held answers. Not yet. We do not have proof, just a test result that could have a dozen explanations. Margaret could say the medication was prescribed by another doctor, that she was following orders, that we are mistaken. Then what do you suggest? Dr. Reyes asked. Richard turned back to them. His face had changed. The grief was still there, but now it was hardening into something else. Determination, rage, purpose. Lily needs to stay here, he said, for observation, for treatment. Keep her in the hospital for as long as you can justify. That I can do, Dr. Reyes said. She needs to detox safely. Monitor for more seizures. That is a week minimum. Maybe more. Good, Richard said. He looked at Anna. I need you to go back to the house. Act like everything is normal. Do not let Margaret know we suspect anything. And while you are there, I need you to find proof. Real, undeniable evidence of what she has been doing. You want me to search her room? Anna asked. I want you to search everywhere, Richard said. Her room, the kitchen, anywhere she might hide medication. I will stay here with Lily. Margaret will think I am just being an overprotective father. But you will have the house mostly to yourself. Find what we need to put her away forever. Anna thought about the warning note, about Grace's fear, about Rebecca Torres in a motel room, about walking back into a house with a woman who had already killed once and would not hesitate to kill again. Then she thought about Lily, 6 years old, poisoned for nearly 2 years, dependent on drugs that were destroying her small body, a child who deserved a chance to be a child again. I will do it, Anna said. Be careful, Dr. Reyes warned. If Margaret realizes you are investigating, you could be in serious danger. I know, Anna said, but someone has to stop her, and I am the only one in a position to do it. She left the hospital at 2 o'clock, drove back to Greenwich, parked in front of the mansion with its manicured lawns and its iron gates and its pretty facade that hid so much ugliness. The house looked peaceful in the afternoon sun, but Anna knew better now. She knew that monsters did not always have fangs and claws. Sometimes they had gray hair and sensible shoes and smiles that never reached their eyes. Sometimes they looked like someone who cared. Anna took a deep breath, checked that her phone was fully charged, made sure she had Dr. Reke's number on speed dial. Then she walked up to that front door and knocked. Margaret answered. Her face showed nothing. No concern for Lily, no curiosity about the hospitalization, no emotion at all. Miss Bennett, she said, you are back early. Mr. Harrington asked me to prepare the house for when Lily comes home, Anna lied smoothly. He wants everything cleaned, organized, ready for her recovery. I see, Margaret said. She stepped aside. Let Anna enter. That is thoughtful of him. I am sure you have much work to do. I do, Anna said. It might take me a few hours. I hope that is all right. Of course, Margaret said. I will be in my room if you need anything. I have some correspondence to attend to. She walked away, down the hall toward her private quarters. Her shoes clicked on the marble floor. The sound faded. A door closed. Anna was alone. She stood in that foyer and felt her heart hammering against her ribs, felt sweat prick at her palms, felt fear try to convince her to leave, to run, to save herself and let someone else save Lily. But she did not run. She climbed the stairs, walked to Lily's room, stood in the doorway and looked at that lavender blanket still lying on the bed where paramedics had left it. 5 caregivers had tried to help. 5 had failed or fled. Rebecca had died. Anna would not be the 6th failure. She would not let this child down. She closed the door behind her, pulled out her phone, started taking pictures, and began the search that would either save Lily's life or end Anna's own. The house felt different when Anna returned, emptier somehow, despite Margaret's presence, or perhaps because of it. Silence had weight here. It pressed down on Anna's shoulders as she stood in Lily's room and looked at the evidence she needed to find. The lavender blanket lay crumpled at the foot of the bed. Anna had seen Lily clutch it every single day, had watched the child refuse to sleep without it, had noticed how Lily's symptoms seemed worst in the mornings after spending all night wrapped in that fabric. But she could not start there. Not yet. If Margaret discovered Anna examining Lily's blanket too closely, she would know something was wrong. Anna needed to be methodical, strategic. She needed to search the rest of the house first, build a case piece by piece, save the blanket for last. She started with the obvious place, the kitchen. Anna waited until she heard Margaret's door close down the hall, counted to 60, then descended the stairs as quietly as she could manage. Her shoes whispered on the marble. Her breathing sounded too loud in her own ears. Every creak of the old house made her freeze. The kitchen was immaculate as always. Stainless steel appliances that gleamed, granite countertops without a single crumb, not a dish out of place. It looked like a showroom, like no one actually cooked here, like food was something that appeared by magic rather than human effort. Anna started with the obvious cabinets, opened them slowly to avoid noise, found exactly what she expected. Expensive organic foods, specialty items, everything labeled and organized with obsessive precision. Nothing suspicious, nothing out of place. She moved to the pantry, checked behind cereal boxes and canned goods, found dust, found expired crackers, found nothing that explained how a child was being systematically poisoned. The refrigerator held the same story: vegetables in perfect rows, milk with the label facing forward, butter aligned with geometric precision. Margaret's control extended even to how food was stored. Anna was beginning to wonder if she had made a terrible mistake, if her theory was wrong, if the toxicology results had some other explanation she had not considered, if she was about to destroy her career and her reputation based on paranoid suspicions. Then she looked up. The top shelf, the one you would need a step stool to reach, the one where someone might hide something they did not want easily found. Anna pulled a chair over, climbed up carefully, pushed aside boxes of rice and pasta that looked like they had not been touched in years. And there in the back corner, behind a bag of flour that had gone hard as stone, she found it, a small glass bottle. No label, no markings, just amber glass and a white powder inside. Anna's hand shook as she pulled out her phone, took photos from multiple angles, close-ups of the bottle, wide shots showing where it had been hidden, evidence that could not be explained away. She heard a sound, footsteps coming closer. Anna shoved the bottle back behind the flour, jumped down from the chair, pushed it back to the table. Her heart hammered so hard she thought it might crack her ribs. Margaret appeared in the kitchen doorway. "Miss Bennet?" she said. Her voice was perfectly calm, perfectly controlled. "What are you doing in here?" "Checking the refrigerator," Anna said. The lie came smooth and easy. "Mr. Harrington asked me to make a list of what we need to buy for when Lily comes home. He wants to make sure we have her favorite foods." Margaret's eyes narrowed slightly. Just a fraction. Just enough to show the way he was calculating, measuring, deciding whether to believe. "I see," Margaret said. "How thoughtful. And what does Lily's favorite food happen to be?" It was a test. Anna knew it. Margaret was checking whether Anna actually knew anything about the child she claimed to be caring for. "Strawberries," Anna said. "She told me last week. And plain pasta with butter. Nothing fancy, just comfort food." It was true. Lily had whispered those preferences one afternoon when Anna had asked what might sound good. It was one of the few real conversations they had managed. Something in Margaret's face shifted. Not quite approval, but acceptance. Anna had passed the test. "There are strawberries in the refrigerator already," Margaret said. "Fresh from the farmer's market. I always keep them on hand for her." "Of course you do," Anna said. "You have been taking care of her for so long. You know what she needs better than anyone." The flattery worked. Margaret's posture relaxed slightly. Her guard dropped just a fraction. 6 years, Margaret said, since she was born. I have been there for every milestone, every birthday, every moment her father was too busy to attend. Someone needed to be there for her, someone who truly cared. There was something poisonous in the way she said father, like the word itself was an accusation. Like Richard's crime was not loving his daughter enough. or perhaps loving her too much. Anna could not quite tell which. That must have been difficult, Anna said carefully, being there when he could not. You have no idea, Margaret said. She moved further into the kitchen, stood too close to Anna, invaded her personal space in a way that felt like a threat. 30 years I have given this family. 30 years of my life. I raised Richard from a boy. I was there when his parents died. I was there when he married Catherine. When Lily was born, when Catherine died. I have been the one constant in his life, the one person who never left. Her voice had taken on a strange quality, soft but intense, like she was confessing something sacred, something that mattered more than anything else in the world. He is lucky to have you, Anna said, because what else could she say? Confronting Margaret now would be suicide. She needed more evidence first, more proof. She needed to survive long enough to expose the truth. Margaret smiled. It did not reach her eyes. Yes, she said, he is, though sometimes I wonder if he realizes it. Men are often blind to what is right in front of them. They chase after new things, shiny things, women who do not understand them the way someone who has known them their whole life would understand them. Anna thought of Sarah Mitchell, Richard's girlfriend, the woman Margaret had mentioned once with pure venom in her voice, the woman whose photograph probably hung somewhere in Margaret's room with an X marked through it. I should let you get back to your work, Margaret said. She turned to leave, then paused, looked back over her shoulder. Miss Bennett, the previous caregivers, they asked too many questions. They saw problems where there were none. They made accusations that damaged my reputation and upset this household. I hope you will not make the same mistakes. It was not a warning, it was a threat. Of course not, Anna said. I'm just here to help Lily get better. Good, Margaret said. See that you remember that. She left. Her footsteps faded down the hall. A door closed somewhere in the distance. Anna stayed in the kitchen for another 5 minutes, waiting for her hands to stop shaking, waiting for her breathing to return to normal, waiting for the adrenaline to drain from her system enough that she could think clearly. She had found something. One bottle, one piece of evidence, but it was not enough. She needed more. She needed something that could not be dismissed or explained away. She needed to find the source, the proof that Margaret had been doing this deliberately, with planning, with intent. She needed to search Margaret's room. Anna waited until midnight, until she was certain Margaret was asleep. She had listened at the housekeeper's door for 20 minutes, heard nothing, no movement, no sound, just the deep silence that suggested unconsciousness. Richard kept a spare key to every room in his study. Anna had seen them hanging on a small board behind his desk. She retrieved Margaret's key with hands that wanted to shake, but forced herself to hold steady. The lock turned with a soft click that sounded like thunder in the quiet house. Anna pushed the door open, inch by careful inch, stepped inside, closed it behind her, stood in the darkness and waited for her eyes to adjust. Margaret's room smelled like lavender and something else, something chemical, medicinal. The scent made Anna's stomach turn. She pulled out her phone, used the flashlight on its dimmest setting, let the weak light play across the space. The room was exactly what Anna expected. Perfectly neat, perfectly organized, a bed made with hospital corners, a dresser with nothing on top, a nightstand with a single book, a Bible, well worn, the kind someone actually read rather than displayed. And then Anna turned, saw the wall opposite the bed, and her blood went cold. Photographs, dozens of them, maybe hundreds, covering the entire wall from floor to ceiling. All of the Harrington family, but arranged in a way that told a story Anna wished she did not have to read. The left side of the wall showed Richard as a child. School photos from age 8 through 18. Margaret had somehow collected every single one. Birthday parties, Christmas mornings, soccer games, Little League, swimming lessons. A childhood documented in obsessive detail. The middle section showed Richard as an adult, college graduation, his wedding day to Catherine. But Catherine's face had been scratched out in every photo. Just her face. Careful scratches that left Richard intact, but removed his wife from the picture entirely. Made it look like Richard had married a ghost. The right side showed Lily, from newborn to 6 years old. But these photos were different. In every single one, someone had drawn on Margaret's face over Catherine's body, crude but deliberate, making it look like Margaret was Lily's mother, like she was the one holding the baby, rocking the toddler, reading to the child, and in the center of this wall, the focal point, was a photograph Anna had never seen before. Richard at age 10, standing next to Margaret, who looked young and almost pretty in her 20s, his small hand in hers, both of them smiling at the camera. Someone had drawn a heart around them. Red marker, still bright even after 30 years. This was not the workspace of an employee. This was a shrine, a monument to decades of obsession, to a love that had twisted into something monstrous. Anna took photos of everything, every angle, every detail. Her hands steady now because shock had a way of creating artificial calm. Then she saw the box under the bed. It was small, wooden, the kind of thing someone kept precious items in. Anna knelt down, pulled it out, opened it with fingers that had started shaking again. Inside she found horrors, locks of hair, 3 different colors, blonde that had to be Lily's, brown that was probably Richard's, black that must have belonged to Catherine, all tied with ribbons, all labeled with dates, some going back years, fingernail clippings, dozens of them, in small plastic bags, also labeled, also dated, a collection spanning decades. A ring, gold with a small diamond, engraved on the inside with initials, M and R, Margaret and Richard, a wedding ring that had never been given, never been worn, just kept, waiting, hoping, and at the bottom of the box, a journal. Anna opened it with the care of someone handling a bomb, because she knew before she read a single word, that this journal would contain confessions, admissions, proof. The first entry was dated 30 years ago, when Margaret had just started working for the Harrington family. Today I met the boy who will be my whole world. Richard is 8 years old, beautiful, smart, lonely. His parents are never home. They do not see how special he is. But I see. I will take care of him. I will love him the way he deserves to be loved. One day he will understand. One day he will love me back. Anna's stomach churned. She flipped forward, found entries spanning years, documenting Margaret's growing obsession. Her conviction that she and Richard were meant to be together, that his parents were obstacles, that Catherine was a mistake, that Lily was an inconvenience. Then she found the entry she was looking for, dated 3 years ago, 6 months before Catherine's death. I made a decision today. Catherine must go. She is wrong for him. She does not understand him. She does not worship him the way I do. I found someone who can help. David works at a garage in the Bronx. He understands that sometimes love requires sacrifice. $15,000 and he will adjust the brake line on Catherine's car. Make it look like mechanical failure. No one will suspect. Richard will grieve, but then he will turn to me, the way he always should have. Anna took photos of that page, and the next, where Margaret described the accident, described watching Catherine's funeral from the back of the church, described comforting Richard afterward, being there for him in his grief, convinced he would finally see her, finally understand. But he had not understood. He had thrown himself into work instead, had spent even less time at home. And that was when Margaret's attention had shifted to Lily. The entry from 18 months ago made Anna want to vomit. Lily takes too much of Richard's attention. He comes home only to check on her, to worry about her, to spend time with her instead of me. But I have a solution. If Lily is sick, Richard will need me even more. He will need someone to care for her, someone he can trust, someone who knows exactly what she needs. I started adding small doses of temazepam to her food, just enough to make her tired, weak, dependent, not enough to kill her. I would never kill her. I just need her to need me, to need us, to keep Richard home where he belongs. More entries followed, documenting the dosage, the symptoms, the doctor's visits that found nothing because they were not looking for poison. Margaret's satisfaction at having found a way to control the household, to make herself indispensable, to cement her position as the one person Richard could not live without. Then Anna found the entry about Rebecca Torres, The caregiver who had died in a motel room. The one the police had ruled a suicide. Rebecca discovered what I was doing. She saw me putting powder in Lily's milk. She threatened to tell Richard, to call the police. I could not allow that. I invited her for coffee, to talk, to explain. She trusted me. Foolish girl, I put enough temazepam in her whiskey to stop her heart. She just went to sleep. I made it look like she did it herself. Depression, stress. The police barely investigated. Richard never even knew she was gone. Anna's vision blurred. She was holding evidence of murder, multiple murders. Catherine, Rebecca, attempted murder of a child. All documented in Margaret's own handwriting. All confession, all proof. She took photos of every page, sent them to Dr. Reyes, to Richard, with a message that said only, call police now. Then she heard footsteps in the hallway. Anna shoved the journal back in the box, pushed the box under the bed, turned off her phone's flashlight. Too late. The bedroom door opened. Light flooded in from the hallway. Margaret stood in the doorway. She wore a white nightgown. Her gray hair hung loose around her shoulders. She looked like a ghost, or a demon pretending to be human. I knew, Margaret said softly. I knew from the first day you would be trouble. Anna stood slowly, kept her phone in her pocket, tried to edge toward the door. Margaret blocked her path. The others had the sense to run, Margaret continued. She closed the door behind her, locked it with a key she kept on a chain around her neck. Grace, Jessica, Sophia. They saw enough to scare them, but not enough to prove anything. So they left. They saved themselves. Rebecca was not so smart. She pushed too hard, asked too many questions. Look where it got her. You killed her, Anna said. Not a question, a statement. I protected my family, Margaret corrected. Her voice was still calm, still measured, like they were discussing the weather. Rebecca would have destroyed everything. She would have taken Richard from me, taken Lily, torn apart the only home I have ever known. I could not allow that. You murdered Catherine too. Catherine never deserved him, Margaret said. The calm cracked, just a little. Fury leaked through like poison from a wound. She was selfish, weak. She did not understand what Richard needed. I watched her waste 10 years of his life. 10 years he could have spent with me, with someone who truly loved him, who understood him, who had earned his devotion through decades of service and sacrifice. Anna realized with horrible clarity that Margaret actually believed this, believed her obsession was love, believed her crimes were justified, believed Richard belonged to her by right of time served. And Lily, Anna asked, what did a 6-year-old child do to deserve being poisoned? I never wanted to hurt her, Margaret said, but there was no remorse in her voice, no guilt, just explanation. I only wanted Richard home, with me, where he belonged. Lily's illness gave him a reason to stay, a reason to need me. I was careful, measured the doses perfectly. She was never in real danger. She had a seizure this morning, Anna said. She could have died. That was withdrawal, Margaret said, because you interfered, because you convinced Richard to keep her at the hospital. If you had just minded your own business, everything would have been fine. Lily would have gotten better eventually. Richard would have been grateful, and we would have continued as we always had. A family. You are not family, Anna said. You are a murderer, a monster, and you are going to prison for what you have done. Margaret laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. With what proof? She asked. Your word against mine. A caregiver with questionable judgment making wild accusations against a woman who has served this family faithfully for 30 years. Who do you think Richard will believe? He already knows, Anna said. The toxicology results, the journal. I sent him photos of everything. The police are probably on their way right now. For the first time, Margaret's composure cracked completely. Her face went white, then red, then twisted into something that no longer looked human. You went through my things, she hissed. You violated my privacy. You had no right. I had every right, Anna said. I am protecting a child from someone who was killing her. Margaret moved fast for a woman her age. She crossed the room in 3 strides, grabbed Anna by the shoulders, slammed her against the wall hard enough to make stars explode behind Anna's eyes. "You have ruined everything," Margaret said. Her face was inches from Anna's. Her breath smelled like peppermint in madness. 30 years. 30 years of patience, of waiting, of hoping. And you destroyed it all in 1 week. 1 week. Anna brought her knee up hard into Margaret's stomach. The older woman gasped, stumbled back. Anna lunged for the door, found it still locked. No key. Margaret recovered faster than Anna expected. She grabbed a lamp from the nightstand, swung it at Anna's head. Anna ducked. The lamp smashed against the wall. Glass and porcelain exploded into shrapnel. They fought, grappled. Anna was younger, stronger. But Margaret fought with the strength of insanity, with 30 years of rage fueling her muscles. She clawed at Anna's face, grabbed her hair, pulled hard enough to tear clumps free. Anna managed to get her hand into her pocket, grabbed her phone, threw it across the room, away from Margaret, toward the window. She heard it hit, slide, land somewhere under the dresser. If she died in this room, at least the evidence would be found. Margaret's hands found Anna's throat, squeezed. Anna gasped for air that would not come. Black spots danced at the edges of her vision. She thrashed, kicked, connected with Margaret's shin, heard a satisfying crack. Margaret screamed, released her grip. Anna gulped air, shoved Margaret away, ran to the window, considered jumping. They were on the first floor. She might survive the fall. Then she remembered. Lily, the blanket, the final piece of evidence, the one thing that would prove beyond any doubt what Margaret had been doing. She could not leave without it. Anna turned from the window. Margaret was on the floor, holding her leg, but reaching into her nightgown, pulling out a small bottle, the same amber glass Anna had seen in the kitchen. "You want proof?" Margaret gasped. "I will give you proof." She opened the bottle. White powder spilled out. Margaret lunged at Anna, tried to force the powder into her mouth, into her nose, anywhere it might be absorbed. Anna grabbed Margaret's wrists, held them away from her face. The powder scattered across the floor. They rolled, fought, crashed into furniture, knocked over the nightstand. The Bible fell, pages ripped. Anna got on top, pinned Margaret's arms. The older woman snarled, spit, tried to bite. Anna held on, pressed her knees into Margaret's shoulders, used all her weight to keep her down. "Stop," Anna said. "It is over. Richard knows, the police know. Fighting will only make it worse." "It cannot get worse," Margaret said, and she started to laugh. High, hysterical, the laugh of someone whose world had just ended. "You took everything from me." "And everything?" 30 years, gone because of you. "You did this to yourself," Anna said. "You killed people. You poisoned a child. You did this." The laughter stopped. Margaret's eyes focused on Anna with crystalline hatred. "If I cannot have him," she said quietly, "then no one can." Before Anna could process what that meant, Margaret twisted, rolled, threw Anna off with a burst of strength that should not have been possible. She scrambled to her feet, ran out of the room. The door was open now. Margaret must have dropped the key in the struggle. Anna got up, chased her, through the hallway, up the stairs, toward Lily's room. Oh God, Lily's room. Anna ran faster, caught up just as Margaret reached the door, tackled her from behind. They both went down hard on the hardwood floor. Anna felt something in her shoulder wrench. Pain exploded down her arm, but she held on, wrapped her arms around Margaret, pinned her, refused to let go no matter how much the older woman thrashed. And then Anna saw it, just beyond the doorway, lying on Lily's bed where it had been all this time. The lavender blanket. "Let me go," Margaret snarled. "Let me go, or I swear to God, I will make you regret it." "No," Anna said, "I am not letting you anywhere near that child's room." But Margaret was not trying to get into the room. She was trying to get to the blanket. Anna realized it with sudden clarity. Margaret wanted to destroy the evidence. The final piece, the one thing Anna had not yet examined. Anna made a decision. Released Margaret, dove into the room, grabbed the lavender blanket off the bed, held it against her chest like a shield. Margaret lunged. Anna sidestepped, slammed the door in Margaret's face, locked it from the inside. Margaret pounded on the door, screamed, threatened, but Anna ignored her. She spread the blanket out on Lily's bed, looked at it under the overhead light, ran her hands over every inch of fabric. There, in one corner, a section where the stitching looked different, newer, done by hand rather than machine, clumsy, like someone had opened the blanket and sewn it shut again. Anna found scissors in Lily's art supplies, cut the stitches carefully, peeled back the fabric, and found what she had been looking for. Sewn into the padding of the blanket, hidden where no one would think to look, was a small cloth bag, about the size of a deck of cards, stitched shut with the same clumsy hand sewing as the corner. Anna cut the bag open. White powder spilled onto the bed. But that was not all. Inside the bag was also a lock of Lily's hair, tied with ribbon, and a photograph, hood, faded, torn in half, showing Richard as a boy standing next to young Margaret, both smiling, his hand in hers, and on the back of the photograph, in Margaret's handwriting, "My family, my Richard, my Lily, forever." Anna took photos with shaking hands, the binam, the powder, the hair, the photograph, the stitching. Every angle, every detail, evidence that could not be denied or explained away. This was how Margaret had done it, not just in food, but in the blanket Lily slept with every night, the blanket she clutched all day, the fabric touching her skin, the powder slowly absorbing through her pores, through her breath, poisoning her constantly, relentlessly. For 18 months, no wonder the doctors had not found anything. They had tested Lily's food, her medications. They had never thought to test her blanket. Why would they? Who would hide poison in something meant to provide comfort? Only someone twisted, broken, obsessed beyond all reason. The pounding on the door stopped. Anna heard Margaret's footsteps retreating, running down the stairs. The front door slammed. An engine started. Margaret was running. Anna pulled out her phone, started to call police, then realized her phone was still in Margaret's room. She had thrown it there during the fight. She ran downstairs, retrieved it from under the dresser, found 17 missed calls from Richard, 6 from Dr. Reyes, 3 from a number she did not recognize. She called Richard back. He answered before the first ring finished. "Anna," he said. His voice was ragged. "Are you all right? I have been trying to reach you for an hour. The police are on their way. They should be there any minute. Get out of the house. Get somewhere safe. Margaret is dangerous." "I know," Anna said. "She is gone. She just left. But Richard, I found it. I found the proof. It was in Lily's blanket, the powder. Margaret sewed it into the blanket. Lily has been sleeping with it, carrying it, being poisoned through her skin for months." She heard Richard make a sound that might have been a sob or a loud laugh, or both. "The police are 2 minutes out," he said. "Stay where you are. Do not go after her. Let them handle it." "I am not going anywhere," Anna said. She sat down on the floor in Lily's room, still holding the blanket, still looking at the evidence of 18 months of calculated abuse. "I have everything we need. Photos, the journal, the blanket." She confessed to me, to killing Catherine, to killing Rebecca, to poisoning Lily, all of it. "You are a hero," Richard said. "You saved my daughter's life." "I haven't done enough yet," Anna said. "But I will. I promise you that. What 5 others tried to do, I was just stubborn enough to finish it." Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Red and blue lights began to strobe through the windows. Car doors slammed. Voices shouted. Anna heard the front door open. Heavy footsteps. Multiple people, moving through the house with practiced efficiency. "Greenwich Police," someone called. "We are looking for Anna Bennett." "Up here," Anna called back. "Second floor, last room on the right." 2 officers appeared in the doorway, young, alert, hands on their weapons, but not drawn. Behind them came Detective Sarah Morrison, 45 years old, gray hair cut short, the kind of eyes that had seen too much but still cared anyway. "Miss Bennett?" Detective Morrison asked. "Yes," Anna said. She held up the blanket. "This is the evidence you need. Margaret Whitmore sewed poison into this blanket. The child slept with it every night. That is how she was being poisoned." Detective Morrison took the blanket carefully, held it like it was made of glass and explosives, looked at the cut stitching, the cloth bag, the powder residue. "We will need you to come with us," she said. "Give a full statement. Walk us through everything you found." "Of course," Anna said. "But first, you need to find Margaret. She left maybe 10 minutes ago. She might still be close." "We have units searching," Detective Morrison said. "She will not get far. Her car has been spotted heading toward I-95 North. We are setting up roadblocks now." Anna stood. Let the detective lead her downstairs. Through the foyer where she had first entered 1 week ago. Out the front door where police cars and unmarked vehicles crowded the circular drive. Officers moved through the house behind her, starting their search, collecting evidence, documenting the crime scene. Anna sat in the back of a squad car, not under arrest, just a witness, protected, safe. She watched the Harrington mansion crawl with investigators, watched them carry out boxes of evidence, watched forensic technicians swarm Margaret's room. Her phone rang. Richard again. "They found her," he said. "Margaret. She crashed her car trying to run a roadblock. She is alive, in custody. It is over, Anna. It is really over." Anna closed her eyes, felt tears leak out even though she had not realized she was crying, felt the tension of the past week drain out of her body all at once, felt exhaustion crash over her like a wave. "How is Lily?" she asked. "Getting better," Richard said. "Already. The doctors say another few days and she will be able to come home, to a house that is finally safe, thanks to you." "I will see you at the hospital tomorrow," Anna said. "Tell Lily I found her blanket. Tell her it is gone now. She does not need it anymore." "I will," Richard said. "Thank you, Anna. You gave me my daughter back. I can never repay that." "You do not need to," Anna said. "Just be there for her. That is all the payment I need." She hung up, leaned back against the seat, closed her eyes, and finally, for the first time in 6 months, allowed herself to believe she had done enough. She had protected a child. She had exposed the truth. She had not run away when it mattered most. Rebecca Torres would have justice now. Catherine Harrington would have justice. And Lily would have a chance to be a child again. To grow up healthy, safe, free from the poison that had stolen 2 years of her life. Anna opened her eyes, looked at the mansion one last time, at the windows that had held so many secrets, at the walls that had hidden so much evil behind a facade of wealth and respectability. Then she looked away, toward the hospital where Lily was healing, toward the future that was finally possible. The hunt was over, the monster was caught, and the blanket secret had been revealed at last. The hospital room was too bright, too white, too clean, but it was also the first place Lily Harrington had been truly safe in 18 months. Anna stood in the doorway and watched the child sleep. Really sleep, not the drugged unconsciousness that had passed for rest before, but actual healing, natural sleep. The monitors beeped softly, steady rhythms that said the body was recovering, detoxing, rebuilding itself cell by cell. Lily's color was already better, less gray, more pink creeping back into her cheeks. Her breathing was deeper, easier. The tremors had stopped. Richard sat in a chair beside the bed. He had not left, had not showered or changed clothes, just sat there holding his daughter's hand like if he let go she might disappear, like the past 2 years might have been a dream he could wake from. "She asked for you," Richard said without looking up. His voice was rough, raw from crying or exhaustion or both. When she woke up this morning, first thing she said was, "Where is Anna?" Anna stepped into the room, pulled another chair close, sat down on the opposite side of the bed from Richard. "I am here," Anna said softly. Lily's eyes opened, slow, unfocused at first. Then they found Anna and something like a smile touched the corners of her mouth. "You came back," Lily whispered. "Of course I came back," Anna said. "I told you I would not leave, not like the others." "Mrs. Margaret left," Lily said. It was not a question, just a statement, like she had known all along that eventually Margaret would be gone. Anna glanced at Richard. He nodded slightly. Permission to tell the truth, or as much of it as a 6-year-old could handle. "She did," Anna said. "She is not coming back. She did something very bad, hurt you very badly. So she has to go away for a long time." "Good," Lily said. Then after a pause, She made me sick? Yes. It was the question Anna had been dreading. Because how did you explain obsession to a child? How did you describe the twisted logic of someone who hurt what they claimed to love? She was confused, Anna said finally. She thought she was helping, but she was not. She made you very sick instead. But you are going to get better now. The doctors are taking care of you. Your dad is here. I am here. And no one is going to hurt you again. Lily thought about this. Her face was serious, old beyond her years in some ways, young and vulnerable in others. My blanket, she said. Where is it? The police have it, Anna said gently. They need it for evidence, to prove what Mrs. Margaret did. But you do not need it anymore. It was making you sick. You are safer without it. Okay, Lily said. She looked at her father. Daddy, can I have a new blanket? A different color? Richard's face crumpled. He pressed his daughter's hand to his forehead. His shoulders shook with silent sobs. Any color you want, sweetheart, he managed. Any color at all. Pink, Lily said, with butterflies. Pink with butterflies, Richard agreed. I will get you one today. Anna left them alone, gave them space to begin healing, to start rebuilding what Margaret had nearly destroyed. She walked down to the cafeteria, got coffee that tasted like warm water and regret, sat at a table by the window and watched the parking lot fill with morning visitors. Her phone buzzed. Detective Morrison, we need you to come to the station this afternoon. Full statement. Walk through everything for the record. Can you make 2 o'clock? Anna typed back. I will be there. Another text. This one from Dr. Reyes. Thank you. For everything, you did what I could not. You saved that child. Anna did not know how to respond to that. She had not saved Lily alone. Dr. Reyes had ordered the toxicology screen. Richard had believed when it mattered. Even Grace Williams had helped by sharing her story. It had taken all of them. A chain of people refusing to look away. She typed back, we all saved her. The response came immediately. No, you were the one who did not run. The Greenwich Police Department was a modern building that tried too hard to look friendly and succeeded only in looking bureaucratic. Detective Morrison met Anna in the lobby, led her through security, through hallways lined with photos of officers and commendations and community outreach programs. The interview room was small, gray walls, metal table, chairs that were designed for function, not comfort. A camera in the corner recording everything. Coffee? Detective Morrison asked. Water? Water would be good, Anna said. The detective left, returned with a bottle of water that was still cold from the vending machine, sat down across from Anna, opened a folder thick with papers. This is going to take a while, Morrison said. I need you to walk me through everything from the beginning. From the day you arrived at the Harrington house, every detail you can remember, everything you observed, everything you found. Can you do that? Yes, Anna said. She started talking, told the story chronologically, the patterns she noticed, the suspicions that formed, the conversation with Grace Williams, the hospital visit, the toxicology results, the decision to search the house, finding the bottle in the kitchen, the photographs on Margaret's wall, the journal, the fight, the blanket. Detective Morrison took notes, asked clarifying questions, wanted timestamps, wanted to know who else could corroborate each piece, building a case that would hold up in court, that would ensure Margaret never walked free again. 3 hours later, Anna's throat was dry and her voice was getting rough, but she had told everything, every detail she could remember, every observation, every piece of evidence. You did good work, Detective Morrison said. She closed her folder, leaned back in her chair. Most people would have run, especially after finding that note, after hearing what happened to Rebecca Torres, but you stayed. You finished what the others could not. I had to, Anna said. I had failed before, failed to protect a child when I should have. I could not fail again. Morrison studied her for a long moment. The boy in the hospital, 6 months ago, that was not your fault. You filed the reports. You followed protocol. The system failed him, not you. It feels the same, Anna said. It is not the same, Morrison said firmly, and what you did here proves it. You saved a life. You stopped a killer. You gave a family their daughter back. That matters. Do not let anyone tell you it does not. Anna felt something loosen in her chest, some knot of guilt and shame that had been strangling her for 6 months. It did not disappear completely. Trauma did not work like that, but it loosened, became bearable, became something she might eventually be able to live with. What happens now? Anna asked. Now we build the case, Morrison said. We have Margaret's journal, the blanket with residue, the toxicology results, your testimony, the statements from the previous caregivers. We are also exhuming Rebecca Torres's body, running new tests. I am confident we will find evidence that her death was not suicide. Between Catherine Harrington's murder and Rebecca Torres in the attempted murder of Lily, Margaret Whitmore is looking at life in prison, multiple life sentences. She will die behind bars. Good, Anna said, and meant it. 4 months passed. Autumn turned to winter. Leaves fell. Snow came. The world kept turning like it always did, indifferent to individual tragedies and triumphs. Lily came home from the hospital after 9 days, moved into a house that had been thoroughly cleaned, every trace of Margaret removed, her room emptied and locked, her belongings boxed and taken as evidence, the kitchen restocked with new food, new dishes. Nothing that Margaret had touched remained. Anna stayed. Richard had begged her to, offered her a salary that made her eyes water, offered her benefits and flexible hours and anything she needed. But Anna would have stayed for minimum wage, would have stayed for free, because Lily needed her, and Anna needed to see this through, needed to watch the child recover, needed proof that she had done enough this time. The transformation was remarkable. Within 2 weeks, Lily had gained 3 pounds. Her color improved, her energy returned. She started asking questions again, wanting to play, wanting to go outside, wanting to be a normal 6-year-old for the first time in her memory. Anna documented everything, kept detailed notes, not because she was worried anymore, but because she wanted to remember, wanted proof of what healing looked like, what recovery felt like when someone was finally safe. Richard changed too. He worked less, came home for dinner, read bedtime stories, taught Lily to ride a bike in the driveway, took her to the park, to the zoo, to places she had been too sick to enjoy before. He was becoming the father he should have been all along, the father grief and guilt had prevented him from being. Sarah Mitchell came by more often, the woman Richard had been dating, the one whose photograph had hung on Margaret's wall with hatred scratched into it. She was kind, patient, did not try to replace Catherine or rush Lily into accepting as her, just existed on the periphery, offering support, building trust slowly. Lily liked her, Anna could tell. The child watched Sarah carefully, studied her interactions with Richard, looking for red flags that no 6-year-old should have to look for. But Sarah passed every test, was gentle when Lily needed gentleness, gave space when space was needed, and slowly, gradually, Lily began to relax around her. Do you think Daddy loves her? Lily asked Anna one afternoon. They were coloring in Lily's room, the new room, repainted yellow that actually looked cheerful now. New furniture, new curtains, new everything. I think he might, Anna said carefully. How would you feel about that? Lily was quiet for a long time. Her crayon moved across the paper, coloring a butterfly pink, like the blanket she had asked for and received, the one that was safe, clean, not hiding poison in its seams. I think it would be okay, Lily said finally. She is nice. She does not look at Daddy the way Mrs. Margaret did. How did Mrs. Margaret look at him? Like she wanted to eat him, Lily said, and the matter-of-fact way she said it made Anna's blood run cold. How much had this child seen? How much had she understood, even when she was too drugged to speak? Children noticed everything, processed everything, even when adults thought they were oblivious. Miss Sarah does not look at anyone like that, Anna assured her. She is a good person. I know, Lily said. That is why I think it would be okay. The Connecticut Superior Court was an imposing building, all stone and columns, and the weight of justice that was supposed to be blind but rarely was. Anna had never been to a trial before, had never wanted to, but she was here now because she had to be, because her testimony mattered, because Margaret Whitmore needed to answer for what she had done. The trial began on a Monday in late January, snow falling outside, the courtroom packed with journalists and curious onlookers and people who fed on tragedy like vultures. Margaret sat at the defense table. She had lost weight in jail. Her gray hair had gone completely white. She wore an orange jumpsuit that made her look small and frail. But when she looked at Richard across the courtroom, her eyes were the same, still possessive, still obsessed, still utterly convinced she had done nothing wrong. The prosecution was led by Assistant District Attorney Michael Chen, 42 years old, brown, sharp suit, sharper mind. He had built his career on cases like this, on putting away people who hurt children and thought they could get away with it. The defense attorney was Eleanor Price, 50 years old, one of the best in the state. She had taken Margaret's case pro bono, believed everyone deserved a defense, even monsters. Her strategy was clear from opening statements. Claim mental illness, argue diminished capacity, try to get Margaret into a psychiatric facility instead of a prison cell. Anna watched from the gallery, listened to Chen lay out the case with brutal efficiency. 3 murders, Catherine Harrington, Rebecca Torres, 18 months of poisoning a 6-year-old child, evidence presented in methodical detail. The journal, the blanket, the toxicology reports. The exhumed body of Rebecca Torres with temazepam and tissue that should have been clean if she had really committed suicide. Then came the witnesses. Dedroy Reyes testified about Lily's medical history, about the symptoms that had baffled doctors for 2 years, about the toxicology screen that had finally revealed the truth. Grace Williams testified about what she had witnessed, about the threats, about the fear that had driven her away. Jessica Park testified about seeing Margaret put something in Lily's milk, about fleeing in the middle of the night because she believed she was next. And then it was Anna's turn. She walked to the witness stand on legs that wanted to shake, but forced herself to keep steady, placed her hand on the Bible, swore to tell the truth, sat down in the chair that had held so many witnesses before her. Chen approached, smiled, kind eyes behind professional demeanor. "Miss Bennett," he said, "can you tell the court about your employment with the Harrington family?" Anna told her story, the observations, the patterns, the investigation, finding the bottle, finding the journal, finding the blanket, the fight with Margaret, the confession. Chen held up evidence bags. Let the jury see the lavender blanket, the cloth bag with poison sewn inside, the journal with Margaret's handwriting documenting years of obsession. "In your professional opinion," Chen asked, "based on your experience as a pediatric nurse and your observations of Lily Harrington, was this child in danger of dying?" "Yes," Anna said. "If the poisoning had continued, I believe Lily would have either died from cumulative toxicity or suffered permanent neurological damage." "And in your professional opinion, was this poisoning accidental? Could Margaret Whitmore have been giving Lily these substances believing she was helping?" "No," Anna said firmly. "The journal makes it clear. Margaret knew exactly what she was doing. She documented the dosages. She tracked the symptoms. She understood that she was making Lily sick deliberately to keep Richard home and dependent on her car." Chen nodded. "Thank you, Miss Bennett." Eleanor Price stood for cross-examination. She approached with the careful steps of someone navigating a minefield. "Miss Bennett," she said, "you testified that you searched Margaret Whitmore's private room without permission, without a warrant. Is that correct?" "Yes." "You violated her privacy, her constitutional rights. Anything you found could be considered fruit of the poisonous tree, inadmissible." "I was not a police officer," Anna said. "I was a concerned caregiver who believed a child was in danger. I needed evidence to prove it." "Or you needed evidence to support a theory you had already decided was true," Price countered. "Is it not possible that you saw what you wanted to see? That you misinterpreted innocent actions as sinister?" "No," Anna said. "The toxicology reports do not lie. The journal in Margaret's own handwriting does not lie. The poison sewn into a child's blanket does not lie." Price tried other angles, suggested Anna was bitter about her past failure, suggested she had inserted herself into the Harrington family to play hero, suggested her testimony was unreliable because she was emotionally invested. But Chen objected at every turn. And Anna held firm because she knew what she had seen, what she had found, and no amount of legal maneuvering could change the truth. After Anna came Richard. He walked to the stand with the heavy steps of a man carrying unbearable weight, swore his oath, sat down, looked at Margaret for the first time since her arrest. Chen asked him about his relationship with Margaret, about how long she had worked for the family, about how much he had trusted her. 30 years, Richard said. His voice was flat, empty. She was there when my parents died, when I got married, when my daughter was born, when my wife died. I trusted her completely. I thought she was family. When did you first suspect something was wrong? When Anna showed me the toxicology results, Richard said. When I learned my daughter had been poisoned with prescription sedatives. When I realized the only person who could have done it was someone with constant access to her food, her belongings, her life. And how did that make you feel? Richard's composure cracked. His voice broke. Like I had failed. Like I had brought a monster into my home and let her hurt my child for 2 years. Like I should have seen it, should have known, should have protected Lily better. Mr. Harrington, Chen said gently, Margaret Whitmore spent 3 decades earning your trust. She was an expert at deception, at manipulation. You are not responsible for her crimes. She killed my wife, Richard said. He looked at Margaret again. This time his eyes were full of rage. Catherine did not die in an accident. Margaret murdered her, sabotaged her car, killed the mother of my child because she was jealous, because she thought she deserved Catherine's place. Margaret stared back, no remorse in her face, no guilt, just that same obsessive certainty that she had been right all along. And then she poisoned my daughter, Richard continued, made Lily sick for 18 months, made her weak and frightened and dependent, all so I would stay home, so I would need Margaret. She claimed it was love, but love does not destroy. Love does not hurt the innocent. What Margaret did was not love. It was possession. It was evil. The courtroom was silent. Even the journalists had stopped typing, everyone transfixed by the rawness of Richard's pain. Chen let the moment sit, let the jury absorb it. Then he said quietly, "Thank you, Mr. Harrington." No further questions. Eleanor Price stood, approached Richard with visible reluctance. "Mr. Harrington," she said, "my client deeply regrets the pain she has caused. But you must understand, Margaret Whitmore devoted her entire adult life to your family. She has a documented psychiatric condition called erotomania, a delusional belief that you reciprocated her feelings. She was not acting out of malice. She was acting out of illness." "I do not care," Richard said. His voice was steel. "Mental illness does not excuse murder, does not excuse poisoning a child. Margaret knew right from wrong. She just did not care. She wanted what she wanted, and anyone who stood in her way had to be removed. My wife, a young caregiver, my own daughter, that is not illness, that is calculated cruelty." Price tried to continue, but Richard cut her off. "You want to know what I understand?" he said. "I understand that Margaret Whitmore spent 30 years lying to me, manipulating me, controlling my household, killing my wife, slowly murdering my child. And through it all, she smiled. She played the devoted servant. She made me believe she cared, but she never cared about anyone but herself, about her twisted fantasy of what we could be together. So no, I do not care about her regrets. I do not care about her mental state. I only care that she never has the chance to hurt anyone ever again." Price sat down, defeated. Chen smiled slightly. The jury looked convinced. After Richard came the psychiatric expert, Dr. James Patterson, forensic psychiatrist. He had evaluated Margaret extensively, testified about her diagnosis, erotomania, obsessive-compulsive personality disorder, but also testified that she was competent, understood right from wrong, was capable of controlling her actions but chose not to. The evidence mounted, day after day, witness after witness, until the case was airtight, until even Margaret's own attorney looked like she knew it was hopeless. On the final day, Margaret took the stand. Price had probably advised against it, but Margaret insisted, wanted to speak, wanted to tell her story, still believed she could make people understand. She looked small in the witness box, vulnerable, like someone's grandmother who baked cookies and knitted scarves, not like someone who had killed two people and nearly killed a third. Price asked gentle questions, led Margaret through her history, her difficult childhood, her devotion to the Harrington family, her belief that Richard loved her but was too bound by social conventions to acknowledge it. Margaret spoke in a calm voice, rational, measured, explained how Catherine had been wrong for Richard, how Lily's illness had been necessary to keep the family together, how everything she did was motivated by love. "I never wanted to hurt anyone," Margaret said. "I only wanted what was rightfully mine, what I had earned through decades of service and devotion. Richard was supposed to see me, to choose me, but he kept choosing others, women who did not understand him, who did not love him the way I did." Then Chen stood for cross-examination. He did not approach gently, did not handle Margaret with care. He came at her with the full force of the evidence and the moral weight of her crimes. "You say you loved Richard Harrington," Chen said, "but you killed his wife. Catherine was wrong for him, bruh. You say you loved Lily, but you poisoned her for 18 months. I only made her a little sick. She was never in real danger." Dr. Rekas testified that Lily was at risk of permanent brain damage or death. Was Dr. Reyes lying? Margaret hesitated. "I was very careful with the dosages." "You kept a journal documenting your crimes. Why would you do that if you thought your actions were justified?" "I wanted to remember, to keep track." "You wanted evidence of your control," Chen said. "You wanted proof that you had power over this family, that you could hurt them and they would never suspect. You enjoyed it." "No," Margaret said, but her voice wavered. Chen held up the journal, read passages aloud. Margaret's own words condemning her, documenting premeditation, documenting knowledge of wrongdoing, documenting satisfaction at the suffering she caused. By the time Chen finished, Margaret was crying, but they were tears of self-pity, not remorse. Still no acknowledgement that she had done anything truly wrong. The jury deliberated for 6 hours, came back with a verdict that surprised no one. Guilty on all counts: first-degree murder, second-degree murder, attempted murder, child endangerment, assault. Margaret showed no reaction, just stared straight ahead like she was somewhere else, somewhere where she and Richard were together, where her fantasy had come true. Sentencing came a week later. The judge was a woman in her 60s. She had presided over hundreds of cases, had seen every kind of criminal, every kind of crime. But when she looked at Margaret, something in her face showed disgust. "Margaret Whitmore," the judge said, "you violated the trust of a family who welcomed you into their home. You murdered 2 innocent women. You poisoned a child, and you did it all while believing you were entitled to do so, that your feelings justified any action, any cruelty. I have rarely seen such calculated evil disguised as devotion." She read the sentence. Life without possibility of parole for Catherine's murder. 25 years for Rebecca. 15 years for Lily's poisoning. All sentences to run concurrently. "You will die in prison," the judge said, "and that is less than you deserve." Margaret was led away. She looked at Richard one final time. "You will miss me," she said. "One day you will realize you need me, but it will be too late." Richard said nothing, just watched her go. Watched the bailiffs lead her out of the courtroom, out of his life, forever. 6 months after the trial, Anna stood in the Harrington garden and watched Lily run through the grass, really run. Full speed, laughing, chasing butterflies, looking like what a 7-year-old should look like. Healthy, happy, whole. The garden had been completely redesigned. No trace of Margaret's influence remained. Sarah Mitchell had done the work, created something beautiful from something that had been twisted. Flowers bloomed in riots of color. A small fountain bubbled peacefully. Wind chimes sang in the breeze. This was where Richard and Sarah would be married. This afternoon, in 2 hours, Anna was a bridesmaid, wore a dress in soft blue that Sarah had chosen, stood in the garden and watched workers set up chairs, string lights, create something beautiful for something hopeful. "You look nice," a voice said behind her. Anna turned, found Richard standing there in his suit, looking nervous, looking happy, looking like a man who had come through hell and somehow found his way back. "Thank you," Anna said. You clean up pretty well yourself. I wanted to thank you, Richard said. Before the ceremony, before everything gets crazy, I wanted to make sure I said it properly. You saved my daughter's life. You gave me a second chance to be the father I should have been all along. Nothing I say or do can ever repay that. You do not need to repay it, Anna said. Just love her, protect her, be present. That is all the thanks I need. I will, Richard said. Every day for the rest of my life. I promise. Lily appeared, running up with flowers in her hands. She wore a white dress with pink butterflies embroidered on it. Her hair had grown back thick and shiny. Her cheeks were round and pink. She looked nothing like the pale ghost child Anna had met 8 months ago. Miss Anna, Lily said, look what I found. Can we put them in my hair? Of course we can, Anna said. She knelt down, wove the small wildflowers into Lily's blonde curls, made a crown of blooms and childhood and second chances. Am I pretty? Lily asked. You are beautiful, Anna said, like a princess. Will you dance with me at the party? Lily asked. After Daddy and Miss Sarah dance? I would be honored, Anna said. Lily hugged her, fierce and strong, then ran off again to find more flowers, more magic, more life. The ceremony was simple, beautiful. Sarah walked down the makeshift aisle between chairs. Richard met her at the small arbor covered in climbing roses. They spoke vows they had written themselves, about second chances, about choosing love even after loss, about building a family from the pieces that remained. Lily stood beside them, part of the ceremony, part of the promise. When Richard and Sarah exchanged rings, they also gave Lily a small locket. Inside was a picture of Catherine, so she would never forget her mother. So she would know she was not being replaced, just expanded, given more people to love. The reception was small, close friends, family, people who had supported Richard and Lily through the darkest times. Anna sat at a table with Dr. Reyes, watched Lily dance with her father, watched Richard and Sarah look at each other like they could not quite believe they had found happiness after so much pain. You should be proud, Dr. Reyes said. What you did, it matters. I was just doing my job, Anna said. No, Dr. Reyes said. You went far beyond your job. You risked your life. You refused to give up when others would have. That child is alive because of your courage. Anna looked at Lily, at the joy in that small face, at the life shining in those eyes that had been so dead before. It was worth it, Anna said. Every moment of fear, every risk, all worth it. Later, Sarah found Anna, pulled her aside, gave her a small wrapped box. For you, Sarah said, as thanks. Anna opened it. Inside was a gold locket, delicate, beautiful. She opened it, found a picture of Lily, and engraved on the back, Guardian Angel. I cannot accept this, Anna said. It is too much. It is not enough, Sarah said. You saved this family. You brought Richard back to life. You gave Lily a future. Please, take it, wear it. Remember that you made a difference. Anna put the locket on, felt the weight of it against her chest, not heavy, just present. A reminder, a promise to herself that she would never stop fighting for children who needed someone to see them, to protect them, to refuse to look away. As the sun set, Anna found herself standing alone by the fountain, watching the last light paint the sky orange and pink and gold, thinking about the past 8 months, about Margaret in prison, about Rebecca Torres finally having justice, about Catherine Harrington avenged, about Lily laughing in the garden, playing, living, being 7 years old the way 7-year-olds were supposed to be. Footsteps approached. Lily. She took Anna's hand. Will you come with us? Lily asked. Daddy wants to visit Mommy, to tell her about the wedding. I want you there too. Of course, Anna said. They drove to the cemetery in the late afternoon, Richard and Sarah in the front, Lily and Anna in the back. The sky was clear, the air was warm, everything felt possible in a way it had not for so long. Catherine's grave was under a willow tree, simple stone, elegant. Richard had planted roses around it. They bloomed now in shades of pink and white. Lily placed fresh flowers on the stone, knelt down, touched her mother's name carved in granite. Hi, Mommy, and Lily said. I am okay now. I was sick for a long time, but Miss Anna helped me. She found out what was wrong. She saved me. And Daddy got married today. To Miss Sarah. She is nice. I think you would like her. She does not try to be you. She just tries to be good to us. Is that okay? Anna felt tears sting her eyes. Watch this child navigate grief and healing with more grace than most adults could manage. Richard knelt beside his daughter, put his arm around her small shoulders. Catherine, he said, I am sorry. Sorry I did not protect you. Sorry I let Margaret into our lives. Sorry I was blind for so long. But I promise I will spend the rest of my life making sure Lily is safe, making sure she is happy, making sure she knows how much you loved her, how much I love her. She will never doubt it again. Sarah stayed back, gave them space. This moment was not hers. She understood that, respected it. Anna stood beside the willow tree, watching this family heal, watching them say goodbye to the past and hello to a future that was finally possible. Lily stood up, looked at Anna, smiled. Thank you, she said, for being brave, for not leaving like the others, for saving me. You are welcome, Anna said. But you were brave too. You survived. You kept going even when it was hard. You are the strongest person I know. They walked back to the car, left Catherine resting under her tree, left flowers and memories and the weight of grief that would always be there, but was becoming bearable. The drive home was quiet, peaceful. Lily fell asleep in the back seat, her head on Anna's shoulder, her breathing deep and even, the sleep of a child who felt safe, who knew she was protected, who could dream without nightmares for the first time in years. Anna looked out the window, watched Connecticut roll past, thought about where she had been 8 months ago, broken, guilty, convinced she could not save anyone, convinced she would always be too late. But she had been wrong. She had saved someone, had made a difference, had refused to run when running would have been easier. And maybe that was enough. Maybe that was all anyone could do. Show up, stay, fight for the people who needed fighting for, and trust that it mattered. That small acts of courage could change everything. The locket rested against Anna's chest. Guardian angel. She smiled, closed her eyes, let herself believe it. In a prison 2 hours away, Margaret Whitmore sat in her cell, stared at gray walls, thought about Richard, about Lily, about the family that should have been hers, about the life she had deserved and been denied. She felt no remorse, only rage, only the burning certainty that she had been right, that everyone else was wrong, that someday they would understand, someday they would realize what they had lost when they locked her away. But that day would never come. She would grow old in this cell, would die here, would be forgotten except as a cautionary tale, a monster who wore a familiar face, a killer who claimed to love. The blanket's secret had been revealed. The poison had been exposed. The evil had been stopped. And somewhere in Greenwich, a little girl slept peacefully, dreamed of butterflies, woke up each morning in a house that was finally safe, grew up healthy, happy, whole. That was justice. That was healing. That was what mattered. The rest was just epilogue. Anna Bennett stood in the hallway of her new clinic, read the sign on the door. Silent Guardians, a nonprofit organization dedicated to training caregivers to recognize signs of abuse, to speak up when something felt wrong, to protect the vulnerable. She had founded it 3 years ago, using money Richard had donated, using her story to inspire others, using everything she had learned to make sure what happened to Lily never happened to another child. The clinic had trained over 200 caregivers, had helped identify 17 cases of abuse, had saved 17 children from suffering, from silence, from people who hurt them while claiming to love them. Anna's phone rang. She smiled when she saw the name. Hello, Lily, she said. Hi, Miss Anna, a voice said. Older now, 12 years old, confident, happy. I just wanted to tell you I made the honor roll again, and I am trying out for soccer. Daddy says you taught me to be brave, so I am being brave. I'm so proud of you, Anna said, and meant it. Are you coming to dinner on Sunday? Lily asked. Please say yes, I miss you. I will be there, Anna said. I would not miss it. They talked for a few more minutes, about school, about friends, about all the normal things 12-year-olds talked about. Then Lily had to go, had homework, had soccer practice, had a life. Anna hung up, looked at the locket she still wore, opened it. The picture of Lily was old now. The 7-year-old child in the image had grown into something more. But Anna kept it anyway. A reminder, a promise she had saved that life. And in saving it, had saved herself. The blanket's secret was over. The monster was caged. The child was free. And Anna Bennett, who had once believed she could not protect anyone, had become exactly what her locket said, a guardian angel.